Hello BookTube and welcome to Quadruple Tag Tuesday. For the first tag, I'm going to be doing the anti-TBR tag. It was created by Nicole and her books, and I first saw this tag on Matthew Sharapa and What Page Are You On's channels. I will leave a link to Nicole and her books' original video down below, as well as leave the questions in the show notes if you're interested in doing the tag. Question number 1. A popular book everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. Well, I won't say necessarily that everyone loves the book, because the book has been enjoyably shredded by Steve Donahue. He rated it as the worst book of last year, but I'm going to go with The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. As far as I'm concerned, Bernardine Evaristo's Girl, Woman, Other is the only winner of last year's Booker Prize. I tried The Handmaid's Tale a few years ago, and I made it maybe a paragraph or two and just utterly loathed it. Margaret Atwood is one of those writers where I really liked The Robber Bride and Wilderness Tips, but I've struggled to get into anything else by her. But I think I much prefer her more realistic work than her science fiction work, which is not her strong suit. I don't think she really understands science fiction all that well, or speculative fiction for that matter. Question number 2. A classic book or author you don't have an interest in reading. This one is a bit tough. But I would say probably Tacitus, or St. Augustine. Number 3, an author whose books you have no interest in reading. I'm assuming this is more of a living author, and I'm going to go with Ben Shapiro. 3.2, a problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading. Jordan Peterson, and if you would like to know why, Steve Donahue has quite a few videos lampooning and lambasting Jordan Peterson's work. It's just definitely not my cup of tea in no way, shape, or form. Question number 4. An author you have read a couple of books from and have decided their books are not for you. Unfortunately, Brandon Sanderson, although I am going to give him another shot maybe sometime in the new year. But so far I've tried to read The Way of Kings twice and Steelheart, and I failed each time. So I'm not entirely sure if Brandon Sanderson is quite the fantasy author for me, if that makes any sense. But I'm not entirely sure if I quite like his work, or sort of like his style of fantasy. Number 5. A genre you have no interest in, or a genre you tried to get into and couldn't. For this one, I think I'm going to go with social policy books. So for the BookTube Prize last year, I read Charged, and I didn't quite get on with it. I didn't particularly like it, and I'm not entirely sure if that genre is really something I'm really all that interested in. But never say never. Number 6. A book you have bought but will never read. Probably the only books that I will never actually try to read are doubles. Because normally I try to have only one copy or one representation of a particular book. And so I will try to purge the doubles. Otherwise, I mean, I pretty much have every intention on reading every book I have in my collection. Whether or not I get to it is another story. And number 7, a series you have no interest in reading, or a series you started and have DNF'd. For this, I'm going to go with The Way of Kings, The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. Again, I've tried to read The Way of Kings twice and have bounced each time. I am planning on giving it another go sometime next year. December's already filled with DNFs that I want to have or bales that I want to have another go at. So I'm going to try The Way of Kings again sometime next year, hopefully. And hopefully I might have a better experience with it than I've had in the past. And if not, then I will probably look to purging them if and when I get around to purging my collection. Which I might hold off on until I pretty much have no more space for books. And I want to get more books. But anyway. And number 8, a new release you have no interest in reading. This one is rather, I have to give some thought to this one. I think I will probably say, I originally had this in my TBR, but Magic by Chris Gosden. It's a big history of Magic that the more I look into it, the more it seems to be geared towards woo-woo or really bad history and anthropology and archaeology and everything else. It's burgeoning on pseudoscience history, and I'm really not all that into it. So that was the anti-TBR tag. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. And since I don't think Steve Donahue's done this tag yet, and he constantly complains that he's not tagged, I'm tagging Steve. I'm tagging Steve. So anyway, I will see you in a few with another tag. Until then, BookTube, thank you, and stay safe.